Liberté balayée.
Liberty wiped out.
Égalité.
Equality crushed.
Fraternité.
Fraternity
Martyrisée.
martyred.
Humain.
Humanity
Outragé.
outraged.
Tous les habitants de cette planète.
To all the inhabitants
Ceux
of
que
this
le mot
planet,
libération
those
fait
for whom the
encore
word
vibrer.
freedom still strikes a
À tous
chord,
les Français et Françaises
to all Frenchmen
encore
and women
lucides.
that are still
Il est
lucid.
grand temps de retrouver
It is
notre
high
dignité.
time we regain
Grand
our
temps.
dignity.
C'est en
High
tant que
time.
simple citoyen,
It is as a humble
libre
citizen,
penseur,
free thinker,
citoyen du monde,
citizen
conscient,
of the conscious world,
éveillé et
awake
debout
and standing amidst the restriction of
dans cette
spaces of
restriction
freedom of
des espaces
speech
de liberté de
that I
parole
now
que je
solemnly
m'adresse solennellement
speak to
à
you.
vous. Vous qui êtes rongés
You
par un
who are
mal-être
plagued by a
grandissant
growing sense of unease in the
à cette
face of
nouvelle
this
version
new
de la
reality
réalité à laquelle
that
personne
no one
ne peut
can
échapper.
escape.
Cette réalité a réussi
This reality has succeeded in making us live in a state of psychosis and fear,
alors que nous aspirons plus que tout
when what we yearn for more than anything is
notre
dignity.
dignité à
Our
retrouver le droit
dignity in
fondamental
reclaiming the
de
basic right
s'exprimer.
to express ourselves.
Notre dignité à
Our
retrouver le droit
dignity in
fondamental
reclaiming the
de
basic
respirer.
right to breathe.
Il y a de la colère,
There is anger,
tellement d'impuissance,
so much
de
helplessness,
tristesse, du désarroi,
sadness,
du vide, de la
confusion,
solitude, de la
emptiness,
frustration,
solitude,
de
frustration,
perte de
a
repères,
loss of bearings,
des perceptions brisées,
perceptions that are shattered and distorted.
les regards sont vides,
Eyes
la
are
chaleur
empty,
humaine absente.
devoid of all human
Il a
warmth.
été construit,
Everything that was built
touché.
is now broken.
Le monde entier est
The
agressé
entire world
outrageusement.
is being
Une
outrageously
force
attacked.
veut
A
que
force
nous obéissions.
wants us to obey.
Maintenus violemment sous
Held
l'eau,
violently
nous manquons
underwater,
d'air, nous nous débattons,
we're running out
nous
of
nous
air,
asphyxions.
struggling, suffocating.
Notre intuition ne se trompe pas.
Our instincts are right.
Quelque chose ne va
There
pas
is something wrong
dans ce
in this
scénario
repeated
répété,
scenario,
répété chaque jour par les
repeated
médias
every day
qui
by
nous
the media
massacrent.
that are destroying us.
Il y a un enfumage quelque part,
There is a deception somewhere,
une malhonnêteté
a
qui abuse de
dishonesty
notre honnêteté,
taking advantage of our
une
honesty,
incompréhension croissante,
a growing and unbelievable
délirante,
incomprehension
créant
creating a
confusion
sense
qui
of
empêche la
confusion that
protestation,
hinders protest,
amplifie le
amplifies
diviser
the notion
pour
of
mieux
divide
régner,
and conquer,
ne laisse plus de place au débat.
leaves no room for a debate wherein transgressive ideas are not labeled, stigmatized, recorded, or humiliated in the name of health safety.
Sécurité sanitaire.
More than anything,
Cette urgence
this health
sanitaire est
crisis
surtout une
is a
époque de
time of
ténèbres, où la
darkness
chasse
wherein
aux
witch
sorcières et
hunts and the
l'Inquisition ont
Inquisition
repris de
have
plus belle.
started back up again with a vengeance.
Et surtout
There
de
is an
chasser la
urgent need to
confusion
dispel confusion
réinjectant
by
avec
honestly
honnêteté
and
et
accurately
précision
reintroducing the
de l'intelligence qui
intelligence
relie tous les
that
points
links all of
ensemble
the dots
pour
together
reconstituer un puzzle
to reassemble
éclaté
a broken puzzle
avec
with
le
the
courage de
courage
faire
to
le lien
establish the link
entre toutes ces
between
nouvelles
all of these new
connaissances
pieces of
et
knowledge
d'accepter
and
l'évidence
accept
des
the
faits.
evidence of facts.
On ne nous veut pas du bien.
They do not wish us well.
Libre a beaucoup
Many are
d'entre
free
nous
to label
de
me
me mettre
as
des
much as they
étiquettes.
like.
Je ne me
This
sens pas
doesn't
concerné.
concern me.
Je suis libre.
I am
Libre
free,
dans cette
free in this France,
cette vieille
this old France,
cette république
this republic
soumise
being
à
forced
marche
to march
forcée
towards a fate
vers un
in which
destin
it
dont
has
elle n'a
no
aucun
say.
mot à dire. Je suis libre d'exprimer mon autre
I am
vision
free
de
to
cette
express
république,
my alternative vision of this
d'exprimer
republic,
ce qui me
to
paraît
express
juste,
what seems like a
comme une
legitimate responsibility
de
to
réorienter
redirect
l'espoir où
hope
il doit être,
where it should be,
dans notre responsabilité
in
de
our
prendre en main
responsibility to take back control
cette
of this
réalité.
reality.
Dans ces temps de tromperie
In this
généralisée,
era of widespread deception,
le seul fait
the simple act
d'exprimer
of expressing a
une autre
different vision of
de la
reality,
réalité, d'indiquer une
of
autre
pointing
direction
out
possible,
another possible direction,
est un acte
is an act
héroïque.
of
Nous,
heroism.
les habitants de cette planète,
We, the
dont la
inhabitants
vraie
of this
nature est de
planet,
vivre dans la
whose true
paix
nature is
et
to live in
l'absence de
peace
peur.
and in the absence of fear,
Nous, les habitants
we, the
de cette
inhabitants
planète,
of this planet,
nous n'appartenons
belong
ni à
neither to the
l'État,
state nor to the laws, but rather to life.
à cette grande vie et son
This
intérêt
great life
supérieur
and its
désormais
best
menacé,
interests,
car la
which are now
conscience
under threat,
est menacée.
because consciousness is under
Notre
threat,
devoir est
and it
d'empêcher
is
que
our
cela
duty to
advienne
prevent this from
partiellement ou
happening,
totalement.
either partially
Il
or
s'agit de notre
totally.
dignité.
This is a question of our
Il est grand
dignity,
temps de se
and it
relever
is high time we rose up
et de se réveiller.
and opened our eyes
avant d'être mis
before
KO
we're permanently
définitivement.
knocked out.
Il n'est plus le temps,
Now is not the time to be skeptical,
mais de se
but
préparer à
instead
tout.
to be prepared for
Il y a un
anything.
problème très sérieux sur cette planète.
There is a very
Nous
serious
sommes
problem on this
à un moment
planet.
pivot de notre
We've
histoire
reached a
humaine.
turning point in our human history.
Dans quoi sommes-nous?
Where exactly are
Croyez-le
we?
ou pas.
Believe it or not, there is no shortage of signals pointing to a planned war against our psychological privacy, our physical integrity, and our personal freedom to find true meaning in our lives.
Quelque chose cloche.
Something is off in the far-fetched beliefs that are being driven into our conscious minds.
Enfermer ce système de croyance
Locking this
chez le
belief
plus grand
system
nombre
inside
d'entre
as
nous,
many of us as
par le
possible
nivellement, par le
in a
bas.
race toward the bottom.
Un enchaînement aussi rapide,
Doesn't such a
exceptionnel,
rapid,
instantané, à
exceptional,
l'échelle de la société
instantaneous
mondiale,
series of
ne vous
events
paraît-il
on
pas
a
étrange
worldwide social
qu'il y ait
scale
une
seems
part de
strange to
libre
you?
face à un
What is
tel
our share
ravin?
of free will in the face of such a tidal
Sommes-nous
wave?
pleinement acteurs de
Are we
notre
fully
réalité
involved in our
face à ce qui
reality,
ressemble
in the
bel et
face of
bien
what
à des
truly
mises à
seems
jour
like
programmées
programmed
et diffusées
updates
sur toute la
being
planète?
disseminated across the entire planet?
Tout l'humain est remis à zéro.
Everything human has been reset.
Notre situation
Our current situation is as ferocious as that of those who, for more than a century, were ripped from their native lands by major colonial powers and exhibited like animals. Bushmen, Aboriginals, Pygmies, Zulus, Maoris, Kanaks, in human
et
zoos.
arrachés à leur terre natale. Dans quoi nous sommes, bon sang?
What in the hell
Ils
have we
abusent
gotten
de notre
ourselves
esprit
into?
en créant des nœuds dans notre
They're
cerveau.
exploiting our
On
minds by
abuse de notre
creating knots
esprit
in our
qui a un
brains. They're
potentiel
exploiting our
incroyable,
minds,
qui est la
which have
porte vers
incredible
tout,
potential,
partout dans le
minds that had
monde,
doorways for
de l'Asie
everything, all
à
over the
l'Amérique du
world,
Sud.
from Asia to South America.
Au nom de la
Millions
crise
of
sanitaire,
people are
des
dying of
millions de
hunger,
gens meurent de faim.
while others,
D'autres
in
dans
isolation,
l'isolement,
are
perdent
losing their
leur
jobs
travail,
and sinking into
tombent dans la
misery,
misère.
all in the name
Les
of the
lois
health
liberticides
crisis.
permettent tous les abus de la
Oppressive
force
laws
militaire
are
dans
enabling
plusieurs pays.
abuses of military force
qu'est-ce
in
qui se
several
passe
countries. What is
Si l'on
going
voulait
on?
vraiment le bien de l'humanité,
Would they use such violence
agirait-on
if humanity's
avec
well-being were
la
truly the objective?
violence partout dans le monde.
All over the
c'est
world,
l'épuisement.
I see exhaustion.
L'humain devient de plus en
Humans
plus vulnérable.
are becoming
L'humain
increasingly
perd son
vulnerable.
sacré.
The human being is
Il
losing
devient
his sacred,
une marchandise
becoming an
énergétique.
energy commodity,
Il est compartimenté et
compartmentalized
empêché
and
d'accéder
prevented
au
from attaining the
universalisme
true
de l'être.
universalism of life.
L'humain n'existe plus.
The human being no longer exists, is no longer present. What was once solid is now
Et un abîme
liquefying,
s'ouvre sous nos
and a
pieds.
chasm is
Nous
opening
devons
up beneath
urgemment
our feet.
reconstruire notre pont
We must
intérieur
urgently
avant
rebuild
qu'on
our
le
internal
construise
bridge
pour nous.
before it is built for
Changer
us,
le niveau de notre point de vue,
change our perspective,
effectuer
and
la
undertake an
reconversion
internal change.
intérieure. N'attendez pas
Don't wait for others to fight for you,
parce qu'aujourd'hui votre position
because your position
est déterminante
today
pour la
will
suite
determine the
de
future of
l'humanité.
humanity.
Je vois sur cette planète
On
des
this planet,
milliards
I
d'humains,
see
des
billions of
milliards
people,
d'automates
billions
dont
of
le
robots
fondement
for
de leur
whom the
équilibre est
foundations
détruit.
of balance have been destroyed,
Capacités cognitives
with impaired
réduites,
cognitive
en
ability
déficit
and
d'attention,
attention deficit.
qui font des choses et les exécutent,
People who
ne
do
savent pas
things
ce qu'ils
and carry
font,
them out
disent des
without
choses
knowing what
issues
they're
d'un bourbier
doing.
de confusion
People
et
who
ne
say
savent pas ce
things
qu'ils
in a
disent.
muddle of confusion without knowing what
Je
they're
vois à toutes
saying.
les échelles de la
What I
société,
see at every level of society,
domination, exploitation,
domination,
corruption,
exploitation,
occultisme,
corruption,
cupidité, est un
occultism,
système
greed
pervers,
is a perverted
noyé
system
dans
drowning
le
in
paradoxe
contradictions
et la
and mass
manipulation.
manipulation.
Ne ressentez-vous pas que l'on
Don't you
vous
feel like
dépossède
you've
de
been
votre
robbed of your being?
Ne sommes-nous pas des hommes machines
Are we not machine men being forced to accept the
Nous
unacceptable?
sommes des humains aveuglés
We are
qui
blinded
doivent ouvrir
humans
les
that must
yeux.
open our eyes.
L'ombre gigantesque
The enormous
du
shadow
nouvel ère
of a
arrive
new era
au
on
seuil
our
de notre
doorstep
porte.
will completely
Il va
overturn
véritablement
and
renverser et
redefine our
recadrer
vision
notre
of the
vision du
world.
monde comme un coup de baguette magique,
Like the wave of a
sortilège,
magic wand, a spell,
un
a bewitchment,
ensorcellement. Et vous êtes
and you are the new slaves,
poings liés,
with your wrists bound,
bouche bâillonnée,
your feet in chains, your mouth gagged, a psychic blindfold over your eyes. It's breaking apart the entire puzzle in order to rebuild it. This world seeks to make us insecure. If our roots are deep, then we have no reason to fear the violent winds. If our deepest roots are attacked, then we are in danger, the victims of a horrible masquerade. The silence of sleepers can be more dangerous than the sound of boots. The enemy is not invisible. No, no, no! I denounce a planetary deception. The enemy is perfectly recognizable. It is an ideological infiltration camouflaged by an immense cloud of confusion. An ideology with no heart, no empathy, and I denounce its planetary deception of humanity. A mass hypnosis of which memory erasure is a key element, as well as the debasement of our conscious in order to keep us in a state of slumber down here. What you believe to be the norm is an illusion. What you believed you know is a program. What you believe to be true is not. We have reached a turning point. We are being imprisoned in a glass cage, where truth is stranger than fiction. Inform yourselves. Abandon the official media outlets. Work out the delusional film being projected onto your consciousness and rediscover the blank screen of your own lucidity. It's about the realization of the reality we're experiencing behind our smoke screens, the illusion you're being fed and asked to believe while, little by little, this ideological infiltration is taking away your human rights and imposing its inhuman rights that are coldly and mechanically killing our being, our very center. One must truly have a clouded mind to accept it, to be manipulated this way. Mahatma Gandhi said, an error does not become truth by reason of multiplied propagation, nor does truth become error because nobody sees it. No, an error does not become truth because it is spread and multiplied. Truth does not become error because no one sees it. For just a moment, forget the media propaganda saturating your brain and putting it to sleep. Forget the duplicity of the politicians manipulating your reality by playing with truth and morality, twisting reality to keep us confused. The language is intended to make lies plausible, to ascribe respectability to the draconian laws that are slaughtering us, giving a solid appearance to what is nothing more than bluster. Let us center within ourselves the possibility of another reality behind the hypnotic film, that of an opposite world where medicine causes illness, where journalism kills information, where politics destroy society. Imagine the strategy of an insane but clever ideology with its 3 golden rules. To reach all of the fish, the best strategy is to take on the ocean. The illusion only controls those who believe it is real. When fear is created, the fear of death, we give power to those who help us survive and who created this fear in the first place. In this world, the message that is being highlighted, being showcased, is the false message. The true message, the one that connects all of the dots to free us from the spell, this hypnotic control is being sullied, shelved, silenced. I'm talking about the negative, not to scare you, not to throw you into a panic. I'm speaking to you as aligned as possible. I am sounding an alarm to spark an awareness of your senses being deceived, deformed and broken, and to tell you that you will need to protect yourselves and your children. We are being held back in our expansion towards freedom, locked inside a bubble where we only perceive things with our 5 senses. Identified through our personal history, identified in suffering, we stay inside our bubble and think this is who we are. This new world wants to eliminate the being, lock consciousness inside a particular frequency that renders us totally blind. False vision is worse than blindness. False knowledge is worse than ignorance. A laboratory mouse that is given an electrical charge carries a memory of that pain and will change its behavior depending on the intensity and duration of the charge. Shocks and terrors exile us farther and farther from ourselves as we become fearful, subjected to authority for fear of punishment. Everything is changing. The life of before is historically over. You're sensing that you have nowhere to go, nowhere to run in order to save yourself. In this open-air enclosure that our planet has become, I can viscerally sense a shift in insidious norms. I feel the forces of sleep, forgetfulness, of wheels spinning, and repetition literally suffocating humanity. It is urgent that we abandon this false identity we are being convinced to take on. Many efforts are being made to erase the memory that keeps repeating, never again, never again. Think of the millions of souls that sacrificed themselves while fighting to make the world better and free. Was it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? A population that forgets the past is condemned to repeat it, to dig its own grave in a vicious circle. It is urgent that you disengage yourselves from this delusional world, that you become a grain of sand that obstructs the doomsday machine, that you take alternative paths so you're no longer caught up and crushed. Be the first domino to question what is obvious. Listen and ask yourself questions about the language used in this deception. Who do you serve? To whom are you giving your energy, and for what purpose? Who benefits from the current chaos? Who currently holds the power? Whose beliefs are in your mind? Who controls entry to and exit from your life? Yes, inhabitants of this planet, French men and women, for months now, a mass hypnosis has been accelerated through the establishment of fear. This fear is the means of obtaining acquiescence. At the snap of my words, can you open your eyes and say,
mais oui, bien sûr,
yes, of course, it's obvious.
Qu'est-ce qui est évident?
What is obvious?
Qu'il y a un éléphant
That
sous le
there's an
tapis
elephant
et que nous
under
ne le
the rug
voyons pas.
and we don't see it.
Nous sommes dans un monde
We are in
où
a
nous sommes
world where we're
emprisonnés dans
prisoners
notre
of our
propre
own
perception
perception
de la
of
réalité.
reality.
On est maintenu dans cet
We're
état
being kept in
artificiel,
this
ignorant de
artificial
cet
state,
état, coincé,
oblivious,
verrouillé
trapped,
dans notre
locked
bulle
inside our mental,
mentale,
emotional,
émotionnelle,
and physical
qui
bubble
nous empêche
that prevents us from breaking the spell.
le sort. Masque, masque,
Mask,
mascarade,
mask,
ouvrez les
masquerade.
yeux.
Open your eyes.
L'humain se
The human
désacralise,
is being
se
desacralized,
déshumanise.
dehumanized,
On le nie comme
is being
esprit.
denied as a conscious mind,
Et s'il
and should it be
devient objet,
objectified,
toutes les
all
folies
manner of
eugénistes
eugenic
peuvent être
madness will become
possibles, de
possible,
l'embryon,
from the
du bébé, de
embryonic
l'adulte,
stage to
du
infancy
vieillard.
to adulthood to old age.
Vous confondez le mot
You are
conscience
confusing
avec
the
un
word
état mental qui
conscious
est anormal
with a
et
mental
délirant.
state that is abnormal and delusional.
Un nouveau genre humain
A
est à
new
notre
human
porte.
race is at
Nous
our
n'avons aucun
doorstep,
mot à
and we
dire.
have no say in it.
Laissez-moi vous dire ceci.
Let me tell you this. At the
Au fond
very
du terrier, il
end
ne
of
s'agit
the
pas de
rabbit
santé.
hole, this
Non,
isn't
non,
about
non.
health. No, no,
Il s'agit
no.
de
It's about control.
La mentalité du mouton n'est
Sheep
pas une
mentality
opinion.
is not an opinion,
Et c'est par le consentement
and
que
it's
nous en
out of
sommes là.
consent that we are here
aujourd'hui.
today.
Voyez les coulisses de ce
Look
monde dans
behind
lequel
the
vous êtes.
scenes of the world
Ça
you're
ne
in.
suffit plus de
It's no
s'adapter
longer
à
enough
celui-ci.
to
Non,
adapt to this one.
ce temps
No,
est révolu
that time is definitively over. It's a
C'est une
question
question de vie ou
of
de mort.
life or death.
Pourquoi?
Why?
Ce n'est pas un signe
It
de bonne
isn't a
santé
sign of
mentale
good mental health
que d'être
to have
adapté
adapted to a
à
society
une
that is
société
ill,
malade,
truly
vraiment malade,
ill,
vraiment folle,
truly
de
insane,
dire également sans
and to
cesse
say
on
over
ne
and
peut rien
over,
faire,
there's nothing we can
je
do.
ne veux pas savoir.
I don't want to know.
On en est tous là.
We're all in this together.
J'exécute les ordres.
I'm just following orders.
Je fais mon travail.
I'm just doing my
Cet
job.
enjeu capital
In
de
this
l'histoire
crucial
humaine,
moment
du
in
visible à
human
l'invisible,
history,
vous
from the
construisez
visible to
des
the
ponts
invisible,
qui ne
you're
mènent
building bridges to
nulle part.
nowhere.
À cet instant du
At this
monde,
very moment in the
notre
world, it
responsabilité
is our responsibility to
sortir du
break free of the spell.
La ruse du
The
diable
devil's
est
greatest
de
trick
faire croire
is to convince us it doesn't
n'existe
exist.
pas.
He
Il
loves
adore
moving forward
avancer, masque.
behind a mask.
Masque, masque,
Mask,
mascarade
mask,
et son gel
masquerade,
béni.
and its holy gel.
Voulez-vous que
Do
notre
you want our
incarnation ait du sens?
incarnation to make sense?
Alors,
Then remember
rappelez-vous de ces 4 points.
these 4 points.
La
The
dénonciation
firm
avec
condemnation of a planetary
posture
deception.
fermeté.
Uniformization and standardization have never led to freedom.
Nous sommes à un point de
We have
non-retour.
reached a point of no return.
Il s'agit de
This is
s'engager
about
ou
committing
pas.
or not.
De s'engager à sauver quelque
Committing
chose
to
de
saving some
l'humanité,
trace of
ou alors
humanity,
il ne
or
restera
else there will be
rien.
nothing left.
Il ne s'agit pas de ça.
This isn't about health, it's about control.
Voulons-nous être
Don't you
libres?
want to be free?
Pour un grand nombre d'entre
Many
nous,
of you
vous
will
allez vous
submit to
soumettre à
authority,
l'autorité, même si elle est
even if it's
abusive, même
abusive,
si elle est
even if it's
injuste.
unjust.
Quant aux autres,
As for the
il s'agit
others,
de réaliser
this is about
qu'on est dans
realizing
une
that we're
situation
caught in a
d'asservissement
situation of
et de décider
enslavement
avec une
and
volonté
deciding with an
indomptable
indomitable
de
will
sortir
to
de
break
cet
free of this
esclavage
slavery
pour
in
reconquérir la
order
liberté
to
intérieure
reconquer the
qui
inner
seule
freedom that
sculptera
alone
la
will
liberté
shape outer
extérieure.
freedom.
De nouveau,
Once again,
Je
I
vous
ask
demande
you to
temporairement
momentarily
de
set
quitter vos
aside your
opinions,
opinions, to
de faire taire
silence your
vos croyances,
beliefs,
de chasser tout ce que vous
to
pouvez
get rid
penser
of
de
any
cette
thoughts you
situation
may have
actuelle,
about the current situation,
d'écouter votre
and to
intuition,
listen to your intuition,
ressentir,
to feel, just
ressentir
feel
ce malaise
the
diffus
widespread unease
vous indique
telling you
que quelque
something
chose
is
cloche
off
dans cette
about the
réalité
nightmarish
cauchemardesque.
reality.
de vous mettre en
To
résonance
tune
avec les
into
mots
these
et leurs
words I am
définitions
offering
que je
you
vous propose,
and their
de relier
definitions, to
partiellement
partially
ou
or
totalement
totally
les
connect the
points
dots
entre eux
between them
et de donner
and
la
create
possibilité de
the
voir
possibility
une toute
of
autre
seeing
réalité
another reality
derrière
behind the planetary
l'enfumage
deception.
planétaire. Je vous demande du
I
courage
ask you to have the
pour la voir en
courage
face,
to look it
car
in
c'est
the
la
eyes,
clé
because it is the key
votre
to your
sentiment
feeling of helplessness.
d'impuissance. Tout d'abord, il y a cette propagande,
First, there is
cette
the
nouvelle
propaganda
réalité.
in this new
La
reality.
propagande demande
Propaganda asks us to
d'accepter pour
accept
évident
as obvious that
ce
which
dont
we
il
should
faudrait
doubt.
douter. La propagande demande
Propaganda
d'accepter pour
asks
évident
us to
ce
accept
dont il
as
faudrait
obvious that which we should doubt.
Douter de ce qui
To
paraît
doubt
évident.
what seems obvious, the
Ce connu
known,
répété en boucle par les
repeated over
médias.
and over by the
Douter de
media.
cette réalité.
To doubt
Mais
this
qu'est-ce que la
reality.
réalité?
But what is reality?
C'est simplement la
It's
modification
simply the
de
modification
notre
of
champ
our
de
field of
perception.
perception.
Nous devenons ce
We
que nous
become what
pensons.
we think.
Mais qui pense en nous?
But who is
Qui nous
thinking
pousse à aller
inside
dans une
us?
direction
Who is
qui est
pushing us to
néfaste
move in
pour
a
nous?
direction that is harmful to us?
Nous devenons ce que
We
nous
become
pensons.
what we think,
Changer nos perceptions,
changing our
et cela est
perceptions.
possible.
And it is
C'est voir
possible.
la
Means
vie
seeing life
différemment.
differently.
C'est accéder à une
It
autre
means
vision du monde.
tapping into another vision of the
C'est un
world.
enjeu crucial
It's
de
a crucial
vie ou de
issue,
mort.
one of life
Pour
or
rompre le
death,
sort de cette
for
autre
breaking the
vision
spell of this
déformante que
other
vous
distorting
subissez,
vision that you're
prenant
being
sa source
subjected to.
dans une idéologie
One that is rooted in a
perfide qui s'infiltre
perfidious
chaque jour de
ideology
plus en plus
that
dans votre
seeps into
cerveau
your brain
comme
more
des
and more
gouttes
each day,
d'encre noire
like droplets
se
of black
diffusant
ink
dans un verre.
expanding in a glass full of water.
Cette encre noire
This
épaisse,
thick, sticky ink is the belief system of these shadow masters,
de ces maîtres de
what they
l'ombre,
believe to be
ce
true
qu'ils croient vrai
about
sur
the
les mystères de
mysteries
la
of
vie,
life,
sur l'origine
about the
humaine,
human origin
sa
and its
finalité.
purpose.
par une rigoureuse
Through rigorous
planification.
planning,
Ils
they are
transforment
transforming their
leurs délires en
delusions into
et
dogma
nous les
and
imposent
forcing it on
par
us
le
through
harcèlement,
harassment
la
and
manipulation
manipulation
de
of the
l'inconscient
collective
grâce à
subconscious,
leur grande connaissance
using their
du
vast
psychisme.
knowledge of your human psyche.
Ces trafiquants de
These
rêves
dream
nous connaissent
dealers
mieux
know
que
us
nous-mêmes.
better than we know
Nous sommes
ourselves.
ainsi maintenus dans
We're
cet
thus
état de
kept in a
sommeil
state of
ici-bas.
slumber down
Nous
here
avons
below.
l'impression d'être
We
éveillés
feel
dans
we're
notre
awake in
existence,
our
mais en fait,
existence,
la grande
but in fact,
majorité
the
d'entre
vast
nous est sous
majority
pilotage
of us is on
automatique.
autopilot.
Pourquoi cet état de
Why
sommeil
is this sleep
est-il
state being
maintenu?
maintained?
Hacké comme un logiciel
Hacked like
saturé
some software,
outrageusement par cette version
outrageously
perverse
saturated by this
du réel
perverse
qui
version
martèle
of
et tord
reality
notre
that is
cerveau.
hammering and twisting our brains,
Nous
we
finissons
end
par
up
perdre
losing
les
the
repères
bearings of our
de nos
familiar
croyances
beliefs.
familières. Nous devenons une coquille
We
vide.
become empty
Le sol se
shells.
dérobe sous
The
nos
ground
pieds.
falls
Les
out
maîtres
from
de
under our
l'imposture
feet. The
n'ont plus qu'à
masters of
intégrer dans les
deception need
milliards de
only inject
psychismes
new beliefs
déboussolés
into the billions
de
of
nouvelles
confused
croyances,
psyches
de façon à ce que l'humanité
so that
voit la vie
humanity
à travers
sees life
de
through
nouveaux
new
filtres
mental
mentaux.
filters.
Ces filtres mentaux sont
These
entretenus
mental
par cette
filters are
propagande
maintained by the
qui
propaganda
ensorcelle la
bewitching the
population
target
cible,
population,
influence ses pensées,
influencing its
orientant son
thoughts,
énergie
orienting its
vitale
vital
vers cette
energy towards
idéologie
the
dans un
ideology
consentement
in an
induit,
induced consent,
empêchant toute autre
and
forme de
preventing
réalité
all of the
possible.
forms of
Cette
possible
version
reality.
actuelle de la
This
réalité,
current version
et
of
il faut
reality,
enfin le
and it
dire,
must finally be
est
said,
un glissement
is
vers
a
un
shift towards
totalitarisme
rampant
qui a
totalitarianism
l'air soft au
that seems
départ,
mild at
mais qui,
first,
au fil
but
de
that,
son
as it grows
assurance
in
et
assurance
arrogance,
and arrogance,
devient un
becomes an
régime
authoritarian
autoritaire
regime
qui vise
that
à
aims to
standardiser les
standardize
comportements
behaviors
et
and
planifier,
plan,
contrôler,
control,
bâillonner
and
par la
muzzle
violence,
through
si
violence, if
besoin, la
necessary,
vie
the
individuelle et
individual and
collective
collective
de la
lives of the
population.
population.
Alors, voyez-vous, mes amis,
So you see, my
en
friends,
reliant les points
that by
ensemble,
connecting these dots, propaganda,
état de
sleeping
sommeil,
state, ideology,
totalitarisme
rampant
rampant,
totalitarianism, you see
voyez-vous
another version of
apparaître derrière le
reality
brouillard
emerging
artificiel
from behind
une
the
autre version
artificial
de la
fog,
réalité, un rêve
a
dans
dream
un rêve
within a
qui
dream
s'impose comme une gigantesque
that's
imposture.
emerging as a gigantic
Sentez-vous petit à
imposture.
petit
Do you feel
cette
the
nécessité
increasing
de
need to
reprendre
come
vos
to your
esprits
senses in the face of
face à
a
un
real
réel
danger
d'annexion de
of
l'humain.
human annexation?
Nous devons nous
We
réapproprier
must
une
reappropriate
pensée
transgressive thought,
transgressive, douter de ce qui est
question
évident,
what is
relier de
obvious,
plus en plus
connect
ces
the
points
dots that
que
this
cette
ideology
idéologie
does
ne veut
not
pas
want
que
you
vous
to
reliez,
connect more frequently,
et de voir enfin
and finally see
cet
the
éléphant sous le
elephant
tapis.
under the rug.
Je vois,
I see,
enfin, c'est
it's so
évident.
obvious.
Comment avons-nous pu
How
être
could
si
we have been
endormis,
so
si
asleep, so
aveuglés pendant toutes
blind
ces
for
années
all
de
these years,
génération
from
en
generation to
génération?
generation?
Alors,
So is
est-ce que
each of
chacun,
us,
dans sa
in his
conscience,
conscious,
est d'accord pour
fine
ne
with
rien
not
faire?
doing anything?
Entendez bien ceci.
Hear this loud and clear.
Le monde d'aujourd'hui
Today's world
est
is a
une
manifestation
du consentement
of the
au pouvoir.
consent to power.
Arrêtons de
Let's stop
consentir
consenting to the illusion of power and refuse to allow
que
this
cette
illusion
illusion
of
du pouvoir
power
vous divise.
to divide us.
Nous sommes entrés
We
dans ce
got into
fichu
this
pétrin
damn mess by
par
consenting to
l'assentiment au
power.
pouvoir. Notre
Our
perception selon
perception in
laquelle
which this
cette
ideology has
idéologie
the
a
power.
ce pouvoir. Elle nous a fait
It made us
construire
build our
intérieurement
internal
notre
house of
château de
cards
cartes
based on the
de
belief in
croyance
its
en son
illegitimate
autorité illégitime.
authority.
Mais qu'est-ce que le
What
pouvoir?
is power?
Qu'est-ce que le
What
pouvoir?
is power?
Nous sommes
We,
d'abord
at
une
first
énergie.
and foremost, an
Tout est
energy.
une affaire d'énergie.
Everything is about
De
energy,
l'enjeu
about
de
the role of
l'énergie
human
humaine
energy
dans
on
cet
the
échiquier de
multi-level
prédation
predatory
à plusieurs
chessboard.
niveaux. À qui
To whom
donnez-vous
are you
votre
giving your
énergie?
energy?
Le pouvoir
Power
détourne l'énergie
diverts
de
human
l'humain
energy
pour
from
son
its
propre
own
compte.
use.
Ouvrez les
Open
yeux.
your eyes.
Le pouvoir
Power that
qui organise
organizes
des complots
schemes
contre les
against people
peuples,
is
ce
nothing
n'est pas
new.
quelque chose de nouveau. Le pouvoir qui
Power
entraîne
that
les
drags
humains dans
humans into
différentes
different
ornières
routes
en leur disant
while
que c'est
telling them
pour
it's
leur
for their
bien,
own good is
ce n'est pas
nothing
quelque
new.
chose de nouveau. Bon sang,
For
toujours le même
goodness
langage à
sake, it's
travers les
always the
siècles,
same
sans
language
qu'il y ait une
over the
doctrine à la base.
centuries with no
Ça suffit
basic
maintenant,
doctrine.
dehors,
Enough,
dehors.
out.
Il ne s'agit pas
This
d'un
isn't
délire
some
complotiste.
conspiracy delirium.
Le
The
complotiste
conspiracy
n'est pas là
isn't
où
where
vous
you
le croyez.
think it is.
Il est là où l'on
It's where
cultive le
secrecy
secret.
is cultivated.
Là où est
There
la doctrine
alongside the
souterraine
underground doctrine
qui vous abuse
that's
depuis
been
des
deceiving
générations.
you for generations.
Presque totalité des humains
Most humans have
n'a
yet to
toujours
learn
pas
the
appris.
lesson.
L'autorité n'a
Authority
aucun
has no
pouvoir.
power.
L'autorité n'a
Authority
aucun
has no
pouvoir
power.
en se
By
réappropriant la question.
reappropriating the questions,
Qui sommes-nous?
who are we?
Où
Where
sommes-nous?
are we?
Vers quoi
Where are we
allons-nous?
headed?
Nous comprendrons
We'll
pourquoi
understand why we've
nous
come
en
to
sommes
this
arrivés là.
and why the
Et
world
pourquoi
population
la
is
population
trapped.
mondiale est prisonnière. Ouvrez les yeux.
Open your eyes.
Fondamentalement, au
Fundamentally,
fond du
at the
fond
very
du
end of
terrier de
this
ces
dream
trafiquants
dealer's
de
rabbit
rêve,
hole,
il ne
it
s'agit
isn't
pas de la
about
transition
ecological
écologique.
transition.
Non.
No.
Au fond
At
du
the
fond
very
du terrier
bottom
de
of
ces
this
trafiquants
dream
de
dealer's
rêve,
rabbit
il ne
hole,
s'agit pas
it
d'un
isn't
nouveau
about a new
contrat social
planetary social
planétaire.
contract.
Non.
No.
Au fond du
At the very
terrier de
bottom
ces
of this
trafiquants de
dream
rêve,
dealer's
il ne
rabbit
s'agit
hole,
pas des
it isn't about
bienfaits
the
des nouvelles
benefits of new
technologies pour
technologies for
l'humanité.
humanity. No.
L'histoire nous a montré
History
qu'à
has
maintes
shown us
reprises,
time and
les
time
choses qui
again
pouvaient
that things
profiter à
that could
l'humanité
benefit
ont
humanity
été détournées
have been
contre elle.
turned against it.
Au fond
At
du
the
fond
very end
du
of this
terrier de
dream
ces
dealer's
trafiquants
rabbit
de rêve,
hole,
il ne s'agit pas
it isn't
de
about some
mesures
magical
sanitaires
health measures
abracadabrantes
to
pour
show
montrer à
humanity that
l'humanité
they
que l'on
care.
se soucie d'elle. Non,
No,
non,
no, no,
non.
no.
Il s'agit de
It's
contrôle.
about control.
Contrôle pour la
Control
création
in
d'un
order
nouveau
to
genre
create a
humain.
new humankind, GMO,
Humain
Human 2.0,
relié à une chape de
connected
plomb
to an
claire
artificially
qui fait
created wall of silence.
vision illuminée
The illuminated
d'un
vision
mysticisme
of an
tout-puissant
all-powerful
pour remplacer
mysticism
Dieu,
to replace God,
l'idéologie délirante
the
d'une
delusional
technocratie
ideology
fourbe,
of a deceitful
une nouvelle
technocracy,
religion universelle,
transhumanism,
main
the new
invisible
universal
qui façonne
religion,
son âge d'or,
an invisible
en
hand that is
agitant
crafting
les
this
ficelles pour
golden
mouvoir
age
les marionnettes
by steering the
politiques,
strings to
désormais
move political
devenues
puppets
inutiles.
that are now
Une
useless.
méga-pieuvre
A mega
avec ses réseaux
octopus with its
tentaculaires,
tentacular
de
networks,
Big Pharma,
from big pharma
passant
to
par les grands
financial
groupes financiers,
conglomerates to
au système de
surveillance systems
surveillance et de
and
traçage
global
mondiaux,
tracing,
veut le contrôle
wants
total.
total control
sur le
over the living.
Si on peut
If we
créer
can
la vie,
create life,
alors tout est
then
possible.
anything is possible.
Si on peut créer
If we
la
can
vie,
create
on peut la
life,
vendre.
we can sell it.
Tout est en train de
Everything is
changer. Eh
changing.
bien, voici une des
And here
pièces
is one of the
essentielles du
essential
puzzle.
pieces of the puzzle.
Le système
The
actuel,
current
le
system,
néolibéralisme,
neoliberalism, was never
Il
created
ne
to
devait
last.
durer qu'assez
It
de
was
temps
only
pour vous
meant to
abrutir
last long
davantage
enough
avec
to
le
dumb
commerce,
you
la
down with the
consommation,
commerce,
et surtout
consumption,
pour vous
and most
enfoncer par
importantly,
l'endettement
to
et
sink
que
you
naisse de
into
ces
debt
cendres
so
la
that
phase
from its
finale,
ashes
le
the
plan de la
final
grande
phase
mise à
could
zéro.
emerge, the plan for the current great
La
reset.
démocratie,
Democracy was
Non,
ultimately
finalement,
only a
c'est une
preventive
programmation
program from one generation to the next
en général.
through the manipulation of consciousness
Une
and
manipulation du
unconsciousness,
conscient et de l'inconscient, exécutée par les
carried out
gouvernements.
by governments.
Ceci devenant
In becoming
obsolète, il laisse
obsolete, the
apparaître
latter are
le
now
visage
revealing the
de la
face of the
bête.
beast.
Une
A
technocratie
eugenic
eugéniste,
technocracy,
une
a
société
dystopian
dystopie
society, a eugenic
transhumanisme.
transhumanism.
eugéniste. L'âge d'or des
The
adorateurs
golden
du
age of
pouvoir est un
power
enfer.
worshippers is an air-conditioned, mechanized, aseptic, functional, cold, standardized hell, dressed in totalitarian ecology, which is the best world for the billions of mechanized caterpillars that have forgotten their ability to transform into butterflies. The very idea of a human being as a natural concept will truly change. This insane but malignant sect seeks to redefine the meaning of the human being and determine our lives and our future for us. Redefine all aspects of life as we know it. All of this is happening in the name of the global health crisis, which is the excuse for burning down the old system. Is Paris burning?
Oui.
Yes.
Et Washington?
And
Oui.
Washington?
New Delhi?
Yes. New Delhi?
Oui.
Yes. Buenos Aires? Yes.
Rome?
Rome?
Oui.
Yes.
Jérusalem,
Jerusalem,
Mexico,
Mexico City,
Berlin,
London,
Dublin?
Dublin?
Oui.
Yes.
Johannesburg,
Johannesburg,
Madrid,
Dakar,
Ottawa,
Madrid,
Hanoi,
Ottawa,
Moscou?
Hanoi, Moscow?
Oui.
Yes.
Athènes,
Athens,
Séoul,
Tokyo,
Melbourne?
Melbourne? Yes.
Oui.
And Peking?
Et Pékin?
Yes.
Oui, assurément.
Without a
Le
doubt.
monde brûle.
The
et nous
world is
allons
burning and we
liquéfier
will
sur place
liquefy
si nous
on
ne
the spot
réagissons
if we
pas.
don't
Le
react.
monde brûle
The world
afin
is burning
d'inaugurer
in
le
order
nouveau
to
programme
inaugurate the new
transhumaniste
transhumanist
et sa
program
technocratie.
and its technocracy,
Qui veut s'imposer
which
comme
seeks to
nouvelle
impose
gouvernante de la
itself
planète
as the new
avec son
planetary
système de
governance
contrôle
with its
numérisé
digitalized
qui relie
control
la vie
system
organique
that
à
connects
l'intelligence
organic life to
artificielle.
artificial intelligence. The
post-corona
post-corona
est le tapis
era
rouge
is the
déroulé à
red
l'intelligence
carpet rolled
artificielle,
out for
à cette
artificial
révolution
intelligence, for
technologique,
this eugenic and
eugéniste et
despotic
despotique, qui
technological
sera vendue
revolution,
pour le
which
plus
will be
grand bien de
sold
tous
for the
comme un
greater
moyen
good of all
d'améliorer le
as
genre
means of improving humankind.
Cette ère déroutante,
This
sublime,
confusing
non
era,
choisie,
endured
ne
but
change
not
pas ce que nous
chosen,
faisons,
doesn't
mais le
change
vrai
what we are
objectif
doing.
est de nous
The real
changer,
objective
nous,
is to
avec les
change
trois
us,
systèmes combinés,
us with the three
numérique,
combined systems,
physique et
digital,
biologique.
physical, and biological. This great reset in the name of what journalistic propaganda calls a global pandemic, in the name of massive social unrest, in the name of growing insecurity and social injustice, is in fact the infiltration, the interference of the globalized state camouflaged by the siren song of a new human social contract with nature. It is in fact the Machiavellian will to reign over every aspect of our lives through the regulation of international laws and draconian measures, and to accept compliance with an agenda wherein the new cyborganic human will have a digital immunity passport.
Est-ce cela que vous voulez?
Is this what you
Un
want?
enfer climatisé?
An air-conditioned hell?
Un enfer
An
climatisé?
air-conditioned hell?
L'ignorance
Ignorance is now a
désormais un
choice. And this
Cela
will
fera
truly
bien mal à
harm
ceux qui
those
sont
in
dans le déni,
denial,
car l'enjeu
because
est
the
la
goal
métamorphose
is
de
mastery
votre
over your incarnation.
Rien n'est caché.
Nothing is hidden.
Il y a juste
There
notre
is simply
propre
our own
aveuglement,
blindness
entretenu par
maintained by
l'ascension
modern
moderne,
censorship, mild
totalitarisme
totalitarianism
soft,
that
qui éradique les
eradicates
informations
essential
essentielles
information
de
in
façon que le
such a
grand
way
public
that the
ne
general
comprenne rien
public
à ce qui
doesn't
lui arrive.
understand what is happening to them.
Le nouveau modèle
The new
est la
model is
perversion
perversion
à tous les
at
étages
every
de la
level of
société,
society,
le
the
développement du
development
secret à
of
l'échelle
secrecy on a
planétaire,
global
la
scale.
perversion des
The
mots est au
perversion
cœur de
of
la
words
propagande.
is at the heart of
Les
propaganda.
ennemis de la
The
liberté
enemies of basic
fondamentale
freedom systematically
pervertissent
pervert language
systématiquement les
resources to
ressources
lead,
du langage
by means of
pour
insidious
amener par leur
persuasion and
persuasion
dumbing down,
insidieuse et
their victims to
leurs
think,
victimes à
feel,
penser,
and
à
act the
sentir,
way
à
they want
agir
them
comme ils le
to.
veulent eux. Les
The
manipulateurs
manipulators are ultimately aiming for the
visent à la fin le
opposite of
contraire
what
de
they're
ce qu'ils
supposed
sont
to
censés
say.
dire. Harmoniser,
Standardizing
gouverner
equals
par le
governing
centre.
from the center.
Méfiez-vous.
Beware.
Méfiez-vous si au
Beware
bout de
if
votre
at the end
soumission
of
vous
your
parle d'un nouveau
submissions
contrat
they
social,
speak to you about a
d'une
new
nouvelle
social
confiance.
contract,
Ce
a
sera
new
un leurre.
consciousness. It will be a trick.
Les mots ont un
Words
sens,
have
sauf
meaning
pour ces
except for
maîtres de
these masters
l'imposture
of
qui les
deception that
utilisent.
use them.
Rappelez-vous de ceci.
Remember this.
Ils ne nous
They
veulent pas
do
du
not wish us well.
tout. Ils n'ont pas de cœur.
They have no heart.
Leur violation de
Their
notre
violation of our
intégrité
sacred
secrète est alors
integrity is therefore ruthless.
impitoyable.
Why are the
Pourquoi
members
les
of
membres
this
de cette
predatory
idéologie
ideology that has
prédatrice infiltrée à tous les niveaux de la
infiltrated
société
all
mondiale
levels of
sont-ils
global
dangereux?
society dangerous?
Ils ont une haute
They have a high opinion
d'eux-mêmes.
of themselves.
Ils n'aiment pas les
They
humains.
don't like humans. They aren't fighting for humans. They love themselves very much and are fighting to maintain their fragile identity. They consider the human mass as slaves at the service of their own grandeur. Among most of the planners and collaborators in the service of the prince's devilish ideology emerge the idea that there is no limit, the feeling of omnipotence, malicious narcissism. These three characteristics define a perfectly identifiable psychic organization. Psychopathy. Control can only be exerted if the target population is unaware. As long as this control is maintained, transhumanism, lurking behind the supposed benefits of its discoveries for humanity, will pursue its update of the human being so that it merges more and more with the machine. Remember that what we call reality is the modification of our field of perception. Keeping this in mind, observe the strategies that are keeping you hypnotized. Divide and conquer. Create a global problem, provoke a global reaction, offer a global solution. Keep your attention on sensitive subjects, racial injustice, growing insecurity, in order to distance you from the real cause that is maintaining planetary confusion. Encourage negative emotions through the mass distributions of films, series, and other various media. Orchestrate a general dumbing down through games, great sports masses, and various other distractions. Immerse in a deeper level of the maze. We will have to resist the temptation to become neuroslaves. Yes, that is the war, the one against humanity, which has become obsolete and problematic and must give way to a new humankind. Most of us are unaware that we are on the verge of extinction, emptied of our essence. Rights and liberties will soon be abolished in one way or another, and any challenge will be futile because any battle fought on unequal terms is a losing one. If we don't wake up now, we'll wake up one day in a world where there will be no more alternative points of view. Nothing. And this world will be an air-conditioned hell. In this world, we'll wonder where we are, who we are, what's going on. Will we ever know? Does everything I'm telling you seem crazy? Yes. I know. It takes courage to see the reality. This is happening. Your destiny is in the safest hands, your own. Often the frustration of a mediocre present is more comfortable than the uncertainty of a better future. Now is not the time to be skeptical, lukewarm, meek or cowardly. There is a choice to be made, and it's the human future that's at stake. Your personal emancipation, if this still resonates with you, and that of your children, in order to save their psychic and physical integrity from being totally controlled, from entry to and exit from their lives. The great deviation awaits the last real humans, anchoring oneself, centering oneself, daring to decide on going against the tide of this inhumanity by remaining faithful to the current of great life. To the masters of the great deception who wish to erase the being, I am telling them to leave life alone, to let it be. As long as the work of destruction and darkness continues, we humans will stand until the end. So, inhabitants of this earth, peoples of Europe, North America, South America, Asia, the Middle East, Oceania, and not forgetting Antarctica, open your eyes, come to your senses, express yourself, Liberate your conscience. If a force does not unite us, it is here to destroy us. Intelligence without wisdom is destructive. The common sense of life that they want to eradicate tells us life is a journey to the farthest reaches of oneself, a mystery to be experienced rather than a problem to resolve in some false and corrupt unity. But where does hope lie? Not in the perversion that's being sold to us as normality. The time has come for us to stop waiting for someone to take us by the hand. The time has come for us to stop bending over backwards. I ask each of you this question. Do you want to be the dead leaf spinning in the wind? Don't you want to simply be? Simply be in peace and in the absence of fear? Let us shake the ground where the sleepers dream. Liberty wiped out, equality crushed, fraternity martyred, humanity outraged. Let us refuse control, isolation and injustice. The absence of empathy enables all manners of abuse towards the human being. There is no more limit. If an ideology seeks total control over the living, I call that a delusion. A delusion. Where does hope lie? Thought, the subtle thought that sees unity below this dual world, will soon cease to exist if we don't become the guardians of our sacred integrity to prevent our vital essence from being subjugated and defiled by the evil forces at work. Hope doesn't lie in the blindness of a falsified, sterilized, controlled, and traced human harmony, but rather in the indomitable desire to rediscover harmony with all living things. Yes, but freed of this monstrous ideology. The human being is sacred. We cannot do as we please with him. He is not an energy commodity. The masters of shadow, these dream dealers, want to disconnect us from our metaphysical lineage, separate the billions of waves in the bottomless, shoreless ocean, and make us neuro-slaves. It is a crazy thing to want to bring all of this under absolute control. It's madness that leads to excess. I dare these worshippers of power and its prince to look me in the eyes and tell me that I am mistaken. Never, never will they be able to control all living things on a foundation of rotten roots, an imposture, a falsification of life. They were able to fool billions of human beings from generation to generation. But the thing is, they cannot fool life and its conscious, because it is below the madness of their negative polarity and its delusional, omnipotent, narcissistic and perverse ideology that wants to annex everything to a fake and corrupt golden age. All that glitters is not gold. Things are not as they seem. The being is elusive. One cannot have the being. One can only be. And they do not have this magic. When we limp, we regain balance using crutches. Their transhumanism, a mystical vision of a eugenic technocracy, is nothing but a lame wretch that dreams of power, that dreams of possessing their sacred unity beyond all else. A lame wretch locked inside of his fallen duality, imprisoning the human inside an even smaller box of perceptions. One day, this entire cursed film will be carried away in the flow of all things, like a wisp of straw. The being is elusive, except for the human that transforms his negative pole through the power of love, and not the love of power, that seeks to annex the being. That is a crime against humanity. Let's escape from this box, once and for all. Let us be free. Let us be free. Let us remember where we came from. Let us restore the ancient knowledge of the physical and metaphysical meaning of life. Let us cross the various levels of existence in order to experience all living things. Let each of us regain our individual power to live again as living beings. We are conscious minds and we know it, and we know what is right to do. Revive oneself as a human being with emotions, intelligence, spirituality that wants to revive matter, to animate this matter in reality, and not only via the internet and its virtual universe. If we allow ourselves to be governed by fear, we'll get the outcome we deserve. Elders that are being miserably and shamefully eradicated, make your voices and the lessons of your past heard. Dare to transgress. Adults under hypnosis, remove the filters in front of your eyes that are making you believe in a reality that is draining your energy and destroying your immune system. Young people they seek to control for life. Question what seems obvious. Disconnect yourself from this world that wants to homogenize you and standardize you like factory chickens. Yes, let us withdraw from this mad world and commit to the freedom of being. Let us create a global dynamic. It's now or never. Let us rise up and reclaim our dignity with a kind of technology that serves humanity and conscience, rather than human slaves that serve artificial intelligence and eugenic perversion. Let us not allow the dark masked world control our humanity. Let us not be dragged into this fallen duality of divide and conquer. Let us not be forced to keep our heads underwater, to be short of breath. Let us not allow this work of destruction demolish our physical, psychic, and energetic integrity. Let us fight so that this sacred of our humanity is never again polluted and corrupted. Let us be free. Let us be free from this bogus world. Let us choose the original version of life instead of some rough copy. Let us be free. When the law is immoral, you must know how to break it. Free, free, free once and for all. Let us reclaim language before it is further used to abuse our honesty. Let us reclaim words so they can heal us and not destroy us. Reimagine, rebuild, redesign, reorganize, rebalance. Let us redefine what the human being means through the natural nobility of this word and thought. Let us explore the unknown. Let us cultivate nonconformity. Let us create a new reality in the face of this oligarchic reality whose headlong rush forward proves that it's been unmasked. We have no hope if we don't react. So yes, we can. We can live differently with a technology that reflects the consciousness of free humans and is not the weapon of war of an ideological parasite that wants to twist the human. We can live differently with an alternate source of understanding and enrichment instead of an imposed uniformity that's incompatible with freedom. To all of you around the world, you that question what seems obvious, you that want real freedom, you that decide that another reality is possible, the planet needs you, bringers of peace, healers of souls, guides for all walks of life. I invite you to follow the example of a collective of artists and free thinkers in this submissive, gagged France. With an indomitable will and heroism, reclaim possession of the world to assert your transgressive thinking and use imagination as a life force, to globally participate in breaking the spell that is keeping humanity in a sleep state. May your words and artistic creation, in joining other centers of consciousness forming everywhere and united with a powerful symbol of your country, stop this nightmarish film so that we may experience what we truly are, outside of any contract, the blank screen of all the possibilities of our consciousness, so that humanity can at last access an alternative metaphysical plane and build another reality. Let us open our eyes. Let us choose self-remembrance over being swallowed up. Let us open our eyes. If the prison walls fade away, we'll become strong. We'll finally rewrite a declaration of human rights that isn't a decoy and that we'll deserve. We are far beyond all the limits of this little box in which we are locked up, gasping for air and blind. Our purpose is far greater when it's chosen instead of endured. The wheel turns from cycle to cycle. History, with its dark destiny, repeats itself. Will we have no say in it? But we always have the choice between endured revolution and a chosen evolution. Let us experience another collective consciousness. Let us be evolutionaries. Evolutionaries. What have we got to lose? Nothing. We've already lost nearly everything. And we really will lose everything if we allow ourselves to be humiliated and destroyed. If not, let's stay here and do nothing. Let us experience another collective consciousness and live in peace and in the absence of fear once and for all. Dignified and free, together, standing, dignified and free, standing till the end. The planet needs us. I'll finish with the two following quotations. Plato said, those that are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses. Mahatma Gandhi said, many people, especially ignorant people, want to punish you for speaking the truth, for being correct, for being you. Never apologize for being correct or for being years ahead of your time. If you're right and you know it, speak your mind. Speak your mind, even if you are a minority of one. The truth is still the truth.
La vérité reste toujours
The
la
truth
vérité.
is always the truth.
Nous sommes esprits.
We are conscious minds, and we know it.
Unissons-nous.
Let us unite.
Décidons-nous de
Let us
positionner
decide to position ourselves
Faisons
to
ce qui nous
act.
semble juste,
Let us do
avec une
together
volonté
what seems
intense,
right with an
pour créer une nouvelle
indomitable will to create a
Une vraie
new
unité,
reality, a
pour
real
rendre
unity
obsolète leur âge d'or,
to render their corrupt
corrompu et
and
falsifié.
falsified golden
La
age
vérité
obsolete,
fera son chemin.
and the truth will find its way.